Now, ANC National Chairperson Gwede Mantashe has conceded that the governing party's tripartite alliance is broken and weak. And this after, for the first time in the history of the alliance, the ANC was barred from speaking at COSATU's 14th National Congress in Johannesburg. Now, after being heckled and booed and forced off the stage, Mantashe left the conference without addressing the delegates. But for more on this, and other developments as well at the Congress, we are joined now by COSATU's President, Zingiswa Losi. Ms. Losi, thanks so much for your time. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Sakina, and good morning to the SABC viewers.
I suppose eventful is a good word to describe the first 2 days of COSATU's 14th Congress. And a few eyebrows, of course, have been raised as well about some of the developments and the reaction to those developments. So, as it stands, we saw that the ANC wasn't allowed to deliver its message of support, and this has become, quite a hot topic. But what is the reason? Have you been able to sit down and come to some sort of conclusion to tell the public why exactly it is that the ANC was unable to deliver this message of support for 2 days running?
Sakina, workers are angry. That is a reality. We've seen during the May Day rally in Rustenburg, where the president of the ANC was also not heard by workers. We are in the process of wage negotiations. We still have an outstanding Resolution 1 of 2018 that was not paid. The conditions of the working class in general in South Africa is deteriorating, and workers are being sent home in the municipal workers without any salaries and being paid using vouchers. And this is a hard reality that workers in the dawn of democracy during this time in the freedom of South Africa, their lives are deteriorating, and workers are saying we need to be heard. Yes, indeed, there are collective bargaining processes that are underway, but those that represent government, that is a government of the ANC, workers are saying it seems as if everything is falling on deaf ears, and yet the public office bearers, they seem to be living a comfortable life.
So what does this mean for this marriage between the ANC and COSATU and the tripartite alliance as a whole?
Look, COSATU is an alliance with the African National Congress, independent of the ANC, independent of the South African Communist Party. That is why COSATU is able, when we do not agree with the positions of the government of the ANC, when there's a deadlock on any matter, we go to the streets, we raise our voices, and this is a Congress of delegates, the 14th National Congress, where unions and affiliates are making a reflection of what has been since the last 4 years. And after deliberation, and workers in the process are feeling the heat, and they are now making a reflection. How that is going to end, we are going to hear this morning, because remember, the political discussions yesterday took place, but we could not resolve on the issues of what is to be done from now moving forward, and as we go towards the 2024 general elections. And that matter was stand down yesterday, and it will be heard this morning so that we are able to conclude the political report. But I must also stress, Sakina, that if you will recall that in the 30th National Congress, under political resolution, COSATU was very clear and said that we want a reconfigured alliance. And when we said we want a reconfigured alliance, we said the elections that are going to be coming after the 2018 National Congress of COSATU, we are going to support the African National Congress. And then we put a rider and we said, we want a reconfigured alliance. If the alliance is not reconfigured, in the next general elections, COSATU will move to support the South African Communist Party to contest state power. This Congress is making a reflection of that decision of the last Congress. But this morning, we shall conclude on that resolution.
So speaking of that resolution, and the question has been asked about whether COSATU members are led by one voice or whether there are various voices here and that there are some push and pull elements at play.
I would not understand what do they mean if it is led by one voice or there are push and pull voices. Perhaps if I can be further clarified, Sakina, so that I know what I'm responding to.
So very simply, whether everyone in COSATU is on the same script with regard to the position regarding the tripartite alliance and support of the ANC, or whether there may be some in leadership who believe that this is still the way to go, whereas others may believe that perhaps this particular union has outlived its usefulness.
Look, Sakina, we are in a Congress, and in Congress, affiliates prepare to come to Congress and they bring different views. That is why at the plenary session, those views are ventilated, deliberated upon, and then a decision must be made. Once a decision is made, that decision is binding to every member of the federation, because all delegates that are here, they are mandated by their structures. But because we subscribe to a principle of democratic centralism, it then means that you are given an opportunity to debate different views, but a decision must be arrived at. And once that decision in a constitutional meeting is arrived at constitutionally and democratically, that decision is binding. And therefore, you have a decision to then implement. Hence, yesterday, we said, let us not vote on this matter, because if you vote on it, then it means there are two opposed views and you want to reach an agreement. And this is a very, very serious matter to cast a vote upon. Hence, we put it down yesterday and we said, can comrades go and speak to one another so that we can have a common position, probably aligned together, so that we are able to say this is a Congress resolution arrived at, of course, with compromises that are going to be made, and how do we move forward. But we are going to wait and see if comrades were able to meet each other and arrive at a common a way forward. But if not, the Constitution is very clear that where there is a deadlock on what you are going to, on the decision, then you cast a vote and make a determination. That process is a democratic process on how you arrive at a decision. But once that decision is made, that decision is binding to all members of the Federation.
And I'm glad you actually put it as you did, because, you know, what happens when you are unable to reach consensus? Because, as you say, some may believe that the ANC is still the perfect alliance partner, but it is clear that others believe that it is not. We heard some of your delegates singing there, Hamba Mantashe. We heard Minister Mantashe himself say that members of your trade union federation are immature, to which some of them, of course, retorted because they obviously didn't take well to that. So it's obviously not an easy one at this point, but the question is, at what point will you know whether you will be holding hands with the ANC leading up to the 2024 election?
A decision will be made this morning in this Congress. Remember, as I said, that it would have been concluded yesterday, but then we said comrades must go speak to one another and see, because there is not much of a difference. Let me also explain the discussions of yesterday. The unions, others were very clear that from here on, in the 2024 general elections, we want to support the SACP, as we had resolved in the previous Congress. Others are not against that. I think I must clarify, because there is not much difference here. Because others who said, let's go to a conference of the left, meaning the party and COSATU and other left progressive organization, so that in 2023, we then have a special Congress of COSATU where we're going now to then fundamentally make that decision. They are not fundamentally opposed to one another. I think delegates are very clear that we are ready now for the party to contest elections in 2024. Whether then that will suggest that we are no longer in alliance with the ANC, that discussion never arose. But this morning, when we conclude the political report, we are going to have a resolution.
So, and all of this is, of course, very interesting because, as you know, that there are many onlookers also looking at these developments and concluding all sorts of things. You know, as, for example, whether COSATU would be capable of being effective outside of the tripartite alliance if that environment, you know, becomes too toxic within the alliance. Are you already starting to have those sort of discussions, or is that a no-go for COSATU at this point?
Look, for us, I think those discussions do not arise because you look at, for an example, just one simple union, SAMU. SAMU is in municipalities. SAMU has battled issues in municipalities that are led by the African National Congress. SAMU has won victories in municipalities that are not led by the ANC. In the local government elections, the ANC lost a lot of municipalities. SAMU is still there, SAMU is surviving, and SAMU is still fighting for the rights of its members. And SAMU is winning battles that were outstanding, even during the time that the ANC was in power in those municipalities. COSATU is a trade union movement that will exist beyond any political party. So, hence, even with the ruling party, the African National Congress, when we do not agree on certain issues, it is COSATU that does not shy away from raising those issues and taking on the streets and making sure that the ANC is held to account, the ANC government. So, I'm saying the life of COSATU does not end when the ANC is not in power. The life of COSATU is not defined by the ANC being in power. The life of COSATU is defined by the issues that COSATU is dealing with in representing its members. So, but that discussion is a discussion that we'll continue to have. We are here now, as you said, that the leadership of the ANC was not allowed to speak because workers are angry, and workers are angry in the ANC government. So it is clear that workers are saying, we are going to continue to fight for our rights, our own existence as a federation. It is not only defined in the alliance, it is defined by the mandate that were given by our members.
And just as we conclude this conversation, Ms. Losi, with regard to just assisting your members in these tough economic times, investments of the Trade Union Federation. Where does COSATU stand on that? I tried to read through on the investment arm and no numbers on that particular website. So how is it going on the investment front, and how are you actually assisting your members?
COSATU has different unions with some have investment companies, some don't have. The Congress yesterday, as we were adopting the financial report, indicated that we are not happy with the Kopano Kimatla investment of the Federation. It has not been doing well, and this Congress is going to deliberate today under organizational report on that matter intensely. So I would not be able now to preempt what will be the discussions as they would unfold and what would be the end resolve of the Congress, because we are still going to discuss the organizational report. But in terms of the investment company of COSATU, the Kopano Kimatla, we have always been battling with it. But of course, there are good stories to tell in relation to investment companies of some unions, and there are bad stories to tell in terms of investment companies of other unions. And this Congress is going to be reflecting on that issue as delegates yesterday, as they were adopting the financial report, did indicate that we need to get deeper into this issue of investments, into the issue of the sustainability of unions, and that matter will be deliberated in the course of the day today.
Well, I'm glad it will, and I'm hoping that we'll have an opportunity to deliberate on it further post your deliberations. But thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. That was COSATU's President, Ms. Zingiswa Losi, speaking to us there.